What's plebs? Welcome to my personal X3 drop 500-man regional, 128th place dog shit tournament report deck profile thing. I went to nationals last week. I took Burning Abyss Kaiju Speedroid thing, and I bubbled, which was alright. But in reality, it's 500 man, top 64, so pretty non-impressive, to be honest with you. But a lot of people have been asking me for this. I don't know why you'd care about fucking garbage deck player, etc. But you know, I guess I would provide, and at least in the long run, I'll be able to look back on this video, see where I went wrong, see where I could have improved, what my mistakes were, etc., etc. Just being able to reflect on, you know, your own mistakes and stuff and how you could have done better, I guess, is beneficial. So yeah, starting off, I guess, talking about the deck, Burning Abyss was probably the wrong choice for the event. I was going to play PK Fire the night before. This deck is objectively better than PK Fire, I think, but with the domination of Monarchs, PK Fire was probably a better shout, to be honest with you. I played a lot of Monarchs. All my losses were to Monarchs and one fucking DDD on the Pendulum. But like every match I struggled against, I did beat a few Monarch players. Every match I played mostly Monarchs. I lost, most of my losses were Monarchs. So this was not a good shout for the deck, especially considering how the main deck itself is actually not very well made at all for Monarchs. It's mostly orientated towards Cosmo, which I expected more of, which I guess that's my mistake, you know, and I made a very poor meta shout. But yeah, that's unfortunate, so what can you do about that, really? So yeah, I'm not going to be one of those guys who explain everything and like say why they played this card. I'll mostly be trying to look at my mistakes and what I did wrong and what my ratios were that were wrong. You know, this kind of stuff, really like analyze like what went wrong, basically, you know. So this is going to be like a bit of a learning opportunity, I guess. So yeah, starting off, I played the 3 Kaijus, one of each name. I didn't play 4, I didn't play 2 of this. Jack told me to play 3 instead of 4. I was playing 4 originally because he convinced me to blind first. Even though you're playing Kaijus, because the advantage is that this deck can go second, but you still want to set up Beatrice. So I did that, which, you know, I guess was a fair shout on his part. You know, I don't regret going first on my matches. I think it was correct. I don't think there's a point in giving Monarchs one less card in the hopes that they don't brick. You just kind of have to assume they're going to open decently every game, and going second against Monarchs, like, it's really hard to push through. And obviously the Kaijus are terrible against Monarchs. They're not terrible, but they're definitely not good. The Kaijus have an all-round great matchup against everything except Monarchs. And these could have been replaced for better cards, in my opinion. Yeah. I guess I'll probably consider what should have been at the end, but yeah. So I mean, two little guys, and they have to be different names for Slumber, and one big guy so that you can crash Beatrice and then get Pimp Dante, which attacks over this. So the 2/7 is very relevant. So that's why I played those. Maxi. Now this is the card I regret most. I think this was a big mistake to play. This was arguably not even side deck worthy. I don't think this is the meta for Maxi right now. Fire King Cosmos fell off the radar. Burning Abyss mirror match is not likely. So what am I playing this card for? I don't know. It was awful the whole weekend. It was so underwhelming. It's not a card you want to see going first. It's not a card you want to see against Monarchs. It's a 1-for-1 at best against like most decks. This is nothing I regret more. Like aside from the actual deck choice of taking Burning Abyss, which I feel was a mistake, main decking this is what I really regret most. Like, this was so bad. I hated this card with a passion. Yeah, but like, you know, it was a terrible meta call for myself. You know, I should have listened to my friend Elliot. He told me not to play this card. The issue really is with Burning Abyss is like the main deck, there's like so much space, and like there's actually just so much room. So like there's really nothing better to play. But I know that I would have rather have these been Dark Holes, for sure. Board wipes, much better than, you know, Maxis against Monarchs. That's probably what I could have done better, I think. Maybe more effect negation. Actually, yeah, I know exactly what I would do. I would replace this for one more Veiler and 2 Dark Hole. That's what I would change. Yeah. It came in good once, literally, like, all the Cosmo players I played were playing Cosmo Demise, so they weren't playing Cosmo Fire King. So this was even more underwhelming. And it only gets value on your turn, which is not really where you want to see more cards. Is like halfway through your committed plays, you know, you want to see more cards on your opponent's turn. So you start your turn with, you know, a fresh set of cards, and then you make your decisions from there. Whereas I was, you know, using this on Call of the Haunted in the middle of the battle phase to draw like a new card, which is not useful because you've already committed your field, your plays at that point. So yeah. Came in good once. There was one really good time to use this where I blind twisted against a Cosmo player who had set 5. I twisted 2 cards. They were both Call of the Haunted. He chained both of them, and then I chained Maxi. That was the only time this came in like super useful. And obviously, you know, like everyone else is maining this card except me. Sorry, everyone else is maining this card. So there's even less reason to play Burning Abyss this format, because for some reason people think this card is main deck worthy when it's not, but people still main deck it, and it's just so it hurts you even more. Like it's really yeah, it's just tough. 2 Veiler, I have no complaints about this other than I wish I saw it more. This card was phenomenal all weekend. I really enjoyed this card. I loved it, and like I said, I would play the 3rd for the Maxis. Tour Guide and 3 more Tour Guide. Thankfully I didn't break on this at all. It was drawn twice and I still had like an okay hand. Yeah, it's kind of annoying because every time against Monarchs, you don't really want to see Tour Guide against Monarchs going first because of Stormforth A for your target, and then you're locked under your own Tour Guide. Which is funny because every time I did open it this weekend, I opened it against the matchup I didn't want to open it against, which was annoying. But yeah, Terratops, I saw these quite a lot. You know, I got a lot of decent hands from them. And like I said, I didn't break much on this. I was playing a different build a while ago where I was playing 2 Takitomborg and a Speed Recovery in my deck. Because you can resolve Terratop twice, which I thought was cool. But, you know, I just wanted to minimize bricks, which is the advantage of Burning Abyss. This deck never bricks, it's very consistent, but it's like consistently average, you know, so it's like, yeah, like you're not going to brick with this deck, but you're not exactly going to open like the most spookiest fields, you know, it's not, you can't really compare it to summoning Erebus with like Aether Stormforth set, you know what I mean? So, yeah. 3 Rhino, this was good all weekend. No complaints there. I don't think I bricked with multiple normal summons at all, so that was pretty cool. The original Bad Boys, 3 Scarm, 2 Seer, 1 Graph. It's really annoying because I open Graph a lot. When you don't really want to open Graph, you kind of just want to summon it from Tour Guide, because you want to like, because then it means you have to normal summon it. But I'm not going to complain about opening Graph. 2 Barbar. No complaints. I think this is perfect ratio. Burn damage came in a lot. Was pretty clutch. 2 Calcab, probably fine at 2. I was actually iffy about this for a while, but 2 was actually really good. Played against a lot of back row decks, Telenize, multiple Cosmo Demise decks, and having 2 of these, you know, I honestly don't think I had any complaints about this. I was quite happy with Calcab. 2 Alec. So this is something I had to cut down to 2, even though as much as I wanted to play 3. I was happy and very lucky with this card, I'm not going to lie, game 2 and 3, because I opened it every time I got Flying Seed with the Speed Droid Terratop, so that was very lucky of me, or I managed to draw into it or something like that, whatever. But yeah, I got pretty lucky with this guy, and yeah, I would play 1 more, I think. I really don't know what I would cut to play 1 more, honestly. I can't think of anything I'd want to cut so far from the monsters. Like I said, these would be double Dark Hole Veiler. So other than Maxis, like, I don't know. But if you can find space for a 3rd, you know, by all means do it, because like, I think it's good. 1 Rubik. Went into Virgil once. against DDDs. This deck can't out big guys, so Virgil helps sometimes, and it's just a name at worst case scenario. Like, just having Virgil access, as much as it's not as relevant as it once was, it's still a decent card. One Libich, absolutely mandatory. I realized that in testing, it's very, very, very mandatory. It's not the best one to draw. You don't want to actually see this ever. You just want to be able to summon it off graph when you get Stormforth Aethert with your tour guide to be able to continue your plays. Whenever anything on your field gets stopped, like Terror Top or something like that, this helps you not be locked down under your own card. So definitely play one. Obviously, like, apart from the first generation of the Burning Abyss support, like, this was obviously the best. 3 Farfa, you want to open it, you want to put it under your Beatrice, you have to send multiples throughout the course of a game, because this deck can't beat over anything over 2/5, so yeah, pretty good card, very relevant. No complaints there. Spells, Raigeki, I think I saw once, I'm sure, at least once. I don't think I saw much more than that though. Foolish, I saw like twice or 3 times. Twister, I think is good against everything really. And I saw it against my Tellarknight opponent who wasn't very happy both games, so yeah. Final spell is the Slumber, which you send off Beatrice. I opened it twice, which wasn't really good because you never want to see this card because it means you get locked under your own field unless you have Tour Guide or the Speed Droids or something. Yeah, no complaints there other than wanting to include the Dark Hole. Final card was Jack's Tech. Just having one breakthrough skill to send off Beatrice is pretty cool because it means you can negate Aether on your own turn, Dweller on your own turn. So yeah, this was pretty cool. No complaints there. I really like this card, and yeah. So overall for the main deck, like I said, there wasn't enough Monarch hate. The changes I'd made, I've made very clear. I would cut the Maxis to the side, maybe not even main at all, maybe not even side at all. Cut these for double Dark Hole and a Veiler, and other than that, I think the build was really good. I know Danny, who came second at the event, didn't play Kaijus. You played like Allures instead. I think that's a very, very poor decision. I don't agree with Allure in Burning Abyss anymore. In PK Fire, Allure is fine, but I don't agree with it in Burning Abyss because it's like, why would I want to banish my monsters? I'm using my monsters to make Dantes. So what's the point in banishing monsters if I'm trying, like, do you know what I mean? Your objective is to make Dantes and Beatrices, so why are you getting rid of your monsters with Allure? It doesn't make any sense. So that's why I don't like Allure in this deck. So yeah, main deck, I think that's everything I had to say about that. Side was Reaper, which didn't come up at all. Probably in hindsight shouldn't have even mainly played these because of the fact that Burning Abyss is a very prominent, and second of all, I think I've got a very good Burning Abyss matchup anyway with the Kaijus and the hand traps. So maybe not necessary, but really what else am I going to side for? Pendulums maybe or something. One Mischief of the Gnomes. This was played against, obviously, for the mirror match and Pendulums. I misplayed with it against Pendulums, so I don't really know how good it would have been against Pendulums, so I can't tell if I'd cut this or not. But yeah, obviously very good for the mirror. You send it off Beatrice, banish it in standby phase, all our monsters in their hand become 1 less level, so now they can't overlay and do stuff like that. But yeah, I was okay with this. I don't think I would change this. 2 Full House for Demise decks, which I didn't see any of for the weekend. Yeah, I didn't side that in at all. It was whatever, My Monarch side was 3 Deflector and 3 Restrict, taking out the Kaiju engine and Maxis. I got into a situation in one game where I activated this and I had like Tour Guide, Veiler, Terror Top, Alec, and this card, and they could not play. Like, that was the most broken hand I've ever seen in my entire life with this deck. So he could play there. I saw 2 of them against my first round opponent who had Twin Twister for both of them, which was unfortunate, but yeah. And the deflects, of course, stopping Stormforth is relevant. The only complaints was that like most of my Monarch hate or like main deck should be tailored towards Monarch, but I don't know what I would put in. I would have Dark Holes in the Veilers, so arguably these could come out, or maybe even Mystic Restrict could come out because Twin Twister is a thing, and rank 5 access is a thing as well, and not being able to Stop the rank 5, which is, you know, not very likely because you will have Beatrice to be able to send Farfa and Alex. So arguably these are better, maybe these are better, I don't know. Yeah, but three of these would have, one of these cards would have to be cut if I make the changes in the main deck, and that'd probably be able to facilitate maybe something like anti-spells or more Pendulum Hate. Floodgates in general don't work very great with Burning Abyss because you can't special summon from your hand, you get locked under your own spell. But yeah, I'm not going to play this deck again, so the changes I'd make are really irrelevant, to be honest. I already know what I'm playing for Euros. Finally, 3 system down. A lot of people told me not to play this, but I thought this card was amazing. I thought this card is even more relevant now, more than ever, because of Cosmo Demise. The graveyard is more relevant now than the field, because Call of the Haunteds, they play like 6 of them, they keep dumping to the graveyard with Tin Can, they discard them in the end phase with Demise, so the graveyard is very relevant for Cosmo, so system down is even better. Yeah, I would still play 3, I think it's very, very important, and you know, it won me 1 or 2 of my Cosmo matches as well, so I have no complaints for the side deck, really, to be honest with you. The side deck would just have to be changed because of the main deck, but the side deck I thought was fine. I didn't have any problems with siding all day. I thought I had a very strong side. The extra Dante and Virgil, I made Virgil once, I didn't summon it off the Beatrice at all. This came up a lot. The second one came up a lot, which I decided to play going forward. So yeah, play a second Pimp Dante if you're going to run this. Acid Golem I made once for game. Dante Acid Golem still relevant combo, which is why I didn't play Upstart. I did it like 2 or 3 times throughout the weekend. F-Zero, arguably you could play a second. Fortune Tune, I was originally playing the Falcon side, so you play 3 Cattle Call on the side, this and Ultimate Falcon. And this is just left over from the night before, and then I changed it in like last minute. Yeah, it's not. This should be a second Pimp Dante. This just happened to be left over, and I didn't really know what else to put in. I couldn't get access to a Pimp Dante, so yeah, that's why that's still there. Grand Pulse, I don't think I made it at all. Nightmare Shark, Double Break Sword. Idea is that you can still have something to play with under Cherries, but I think 1 is enough, and maybe second Nightmare Shark would be better. Yeah, and 3 Beatrice, 3 Dante. No questions there. I'd play 4 of each if I could. But yeah, so like I said, everyone, that's been my tournament report, really. My deck anyway, my deck analysis. I know, so learn from my mistakes and hopefully you'll do better with the deck. Don't main Maxi, that's literally all you have to take from this video. TLDR, don't main Maxi. In terms of my matchups, round 1, I lost against a guy who summoned Terror Top, and then I Maxi'd him, and then he passed, and then he Stormforth Aethered me, and that was a very, very confusing match for me. He's a very good player. He made top 16. He's been on my channel a lot, so you know I wasn't too mad at all. Round 2, I beat Cosmo. Round like 3 all the way up to like 6, I beat Cosmo, variants of Cosmo and Monarchs, and then I think in the last round of the day I lost to DDDs, which was embarrassing, so I finished day 2. Day 1 with X3, I must have lost to another Monarch somewhere in there as well, so I wasn't very confident going to get day 2. Literally I was going into day 2 playing for the mat and nothing else, which I did get in the end, thankfully. At least I got something out of this pretty poor performance at the weekend. And then day 2 I smashed Cosmo and Monarchs, and then in the final round in the bubble match got my hopes up, you know, I was trembling, I was like, oh my god, I actually have a chance here, and I get 2 in 10 minutes. So that was very anticlimactic. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you've watched this far, give me hashtag double pimp in the description. So hashtag double pimp in the description if you've watched this far. This has been my tournament report. Don't net deck me, don't copy me, because obviously I'm garbage. Unless you want to get 128th place as well at a 500-man fucking regional, then sure, go ahead. But otherwise, yeah, do yourself a favor and copy someone else's build, take someone else's advice, because I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, hashtag double pimp. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you next time.
Come, face me, give in to to your pride.